Hey everybody, it's Trigger Bar Philosopher. Welcome back out to the channel. Today we got an exciting episode. We're going to be continuing on in our series of testing between organic gelatin and clear ballistic gelatin. This time we're going to be testing Underwood 357 SIG, their 124 grain jacketed hollow point, and we're going to be taking a look out of the Joe Jones Special. Should be a good time. Let's get to shooting. Okay, so we're talking about the Glock 35 with a 5.31 inch Alpha Wolf conversion barrel in 357 SIG. I call it the Joe Jones Special because Joe's been on my channel a few times, had an illustrious career as a police officer. His favorite carry right now is the Glock 35. One of the reasons I got the Glock 35 is because of Joe, so I call it the Joe Jones Special. Just coming back from Primary Machine where I got the optic milled. They did it, they installed it, they did all of those things. And we got a nice Glock FDE coloring for the two-tone. May leave it this way, may get the bottom also colored. Don't know how it'll end up. But today we're going to be shooting the 124 grain Underwood ammunition. Again, if you haven't seen the 357 SIG, this is what it looks like. They say on box $14.75. We'll see what we get out of the Joe Jones Special with a 5.31 inch barrel. That's a little bit longer, so we should get more. We're going to test out how it behaves in clear ballistic gelatin and organic gelatin. I mostly on my channel use clear ballistic gelatin. I've been mixing up some organic gelatin so that we can get a comparison and we know one round to the next when we look at our clear ballistic results, what that might translate into organic results. And what I'm finding so far when I've already tested 9mm and 380 is that they are changing per caliber. I don't know if they change per velocity and per gun. So I'm going to work through a series of these, and then I may do some other tests to look at barrel lengths and how that affects our comparisons between organic gelatin and clear ballistic gelatin. Remember, clear ballistic gelatin has a lot of great properties. You can store it pretty much at room temperature. It doesn't like melt, it doesn't go bad, it doesn't stink. You know, all of those things that are bad with organic gelatin. Organic gelatin, you have to brew it up. There's a lot of specific things. It can't get hotter than a certain temperature. You got to keep it at a certain temperature. I have to bring a cooler out for these days and make sure that it doesn't get above a certain temperature. So clear ballistic gelatin doesn't have those issues. But there's some downsides in that organic gelatin was what was used by the original people to calibrate it against pig tissue, and that pig tissue was viewed as a great calibration against human tissue from autopsies. So this whole thing is kind of, we're building tolerances, if you will. We're stacking it's about this, it's about that, and by the time you get the 4th degree away, you start to get some things that maybe don't work right. So we're trying to calibrate ourselves and see, at least to the organic gelatin, 10% organic gelatin standard, how far off we are. Now I have a theory that it varies with guns. Some people tell me on 380, hey, it's going to be 4 to 5 inches less penetration with the 380. Well, when I did my test, I was only seeing about 1 inch difference with the Bodyguard 2.0. So not much difference in 380. A little bit more difference when we went to 9mm. Today we're testing 357 SIG. We're going to look at that. Remember our test setup for these comparisons, I ditch the medium density fiberboard, which is what I use for other clear ballistic gelatin. And in this video, I just use 2 layers of denim, 2 layers of t-shirt, then organic gelatin, and then a backup block of clear ballistic. So anytime we're going to go beyond 16 inches, I don't have the ability to kind of test that. So hopefully we get most of our test results in the first 16 inches of the block. Then for our clear ballistics, we do the same thing. 2 layers of denim, 2 layers of t-shirt, and then ballistic gelatin. Okay, that's our test setup. Should be a good time. Let's get to shooting. Okay, we have the 124 grain jacketed hollow point from Underwood in 357 SIG with our Joe Jones Special. That's the Glock 35 with an Alpha Wolf conversion barrel in it to run 357 SIG. We have some organic gelatin, 10% ordnance gelatin made with grade 250A Knox gelatin. We're going to fire this round to see into it to see how it performs and then compare it with the clear ballistic gel. All right, let's take a look and see what happened. Bullet came in and absolutely exploded. Just mushroomed beautifully, but only gets out to about 10 inches, 10.5 inch mark. So this bullet for that barrel may be a little too fast. It's not getting the penetration depth, but I mean, in terms of what it's doing now, organic gelatin tends to show more explosion in and around the damaged tissue. That's far more than what you'll see in clear ballistics. If this is the standard, I mean, like that's like, I don't know, that's very wide damage that's going on in there. Let me just kind of go over on the top, getting one measurement from this distance. That's like 3 inches of damage going across, 3.5 inches of damage widthwise. So, I mean, that's just phenomenal. Let me try and get a couple other angles with this. Here we are in front. We can just see that the brass on top of the lead just, flew off immediately. We had case, jacket separation. Just out of the box, there's the little projectiles and such. Sorry, that's a little rough. Let me get from the top view. There's that top view. You can again just see it's very wide. All right, well, since we have a little bit of space in the gel block, I decided why don't we scoot back just a little bit, see if we can catch it on the Garmin here. We were at 5 yards, we're at 7 yards. It gives us a little bit more data, see if that one was a fluke that it only went in a short distance. Didn't pick it up here, but let's go down and check it out. No fluke on that. We're back out to about 10 inches and basically the same thing. Tremendous disruption, lost a ton of petals. Why don't we pull this out? This is kind of fun. A lot easier to pull a bullet out of organic gelatin than it is with clear ballistic gelatin. So let's just take a quick look at it. So this is shot number 1, 0.58, pretty flattened out. 0.57 is our widest spot. Well, 0.58. Don't speak before you know, huh? 0.586 is the widest spot on the one. Let's do the second one. Still have some of the copper falling off. This one at its widest is 0.5995. Look like. Well, hey. 0.63 was the widest. I mean, no doubt, this is gonna absolutely smash whatever you are going up against, and basically no over penetration. So that's pretty cool. Let's go on to the clear ballistic gel. Now we have the clear ballistic gelatin set up. Again, same setup, 2 layers of denim, 2 layers of t-shirt, clear ballistic gel from there. We got the 124 grain Underwood 357 SIG out of the Glock 35, the Alpha Wolf conversion barrel. Let's get this into the gel. Dang, not catching any of these, not sure why. Let's go down, check it out. Well, I hate it when the camera guy forgets to turn on the camera. Silly camera guy. At any rate, we are getting out to almost 15 inches, so that's quite a big difference from 10 inches to the push bounce back hat got to 15. The bullet is right at 14 inches. So 14 to 10, that's 4 inches of difference. Remember, in 380 between clear ballistics and organic gelatin, we were seeing about an inch. There wasn't much of a difference. In clear ballistics with 357 SIG, we're seeing a pretty big difference. We'll shoot one more. I flipped the gel block around. We'll shoot one more. To remain consistent, I moved back another yard or two, so we're at 6-7 yards. We have the 4 layers, 2 layers of denim, 2 layers of t-shirt. We have our 357 SIG, 124 grain from Underwood in our Glock 35. This is shot number 2 into the gel, and I am turning on the slow motion camera just to be sure.
You're a dumbass. You're grade A, number 1.
1522, there's a reason it wasn't catching it. These bullets are going too fast for my Garmin, so I had to switch it to the fast mode. But that explains it. 1522, yowzers. That's cruising. All right, well, my effort to move just slightly away from the other wound track lended it to coming in and then exiting down around, I'm guessing around the 14-inch mark, where we start seeing, we still have petals in it. Around the 13-inch mark, it would have gone out to 15 or so inches again. Yeah, the bullet's probably somewhere over around here on the ground. I doubt I'm going to find it, but sometimes those things bounce forward. I've captured some of the movement in the gel. It kind of ricochets backwards. So it's this way towards where I shot from, but I'll take a look around for it at any rate. So yeah, so seem very similar type of wound track. The wound tracks are very, not as impressive when you compare organic gelatin versus clear ballistic gelatin, which is what we're doing here today. But it gives you that sense of disruption, like this disruption resulted in 3-inch wide wound tracks of permanent damage in the organic gelatin versus it's like, meh. My guess is that reality is somewhere between the two of these of the damaged tissue. Dr. Martin Fackler, who is kind of the godfather of ballistics, often kind of said, well, for pistol rounds, and again, some of these rounds are around then, these are traditional pistol rounds, just basically do damage as wide as their hollow point is. So some of that temporary stretch cavity, you're seeing it and you're thinking it's permanent damage. I'm not so sure it's permanent in a sense. Although this thing going this speed, it probably is. But at any rate, it's good to see these two comparisons. Both of these, remind you, both of these are simulations. This is a simulation of organic gelatin, which is a simulation of pig, which is a simulation of corpses, right? They got autopsy data, but it happened in real people. So, we're several layers away from where actual truth is. And Dr. Martin Fackler said the organic gelatin is a pretty good simulation of the pig tissue. Is it precise? Is it like 0.1 inch similar? No, it's not, right? So it's about the same. And, in some sense, the organic gelatin is about the same as, right, you're rounding, right? It got over 10 inches. Both these got, well, I guess in the organic gelatin, it barely got over 10 inches, but you guys get the gist of what I'm saying. So just taking a quick look at the expansion from the clear ballistic gelatin, it's getting out almost to 5.745, which is very similar to the 5.8 that we were seeing, or the 0.58 that we were seeing out of the organic gelatin. So not much difference in terms of a bullet expansion happening between these two rounds. Maybe the round held together just a little bit better, but you can see it was starting to fall apart and it had lost a lot of its jacket already. We'll continue on that group. We'll get 5 more shots into it and see how these bullets perform, how consistent they are. $15.66, $15.43, $15.50. They're absolutely pummeling that steel target. $15.31. Take a quick look at the session summary. Had a min of 1522, an average of 1544, a max of 1566, extreme spread of 44, standard deviation of 14.6, average kinetic energy of 657. That's pretty good. Getting quite a bit. I think we're probably getting some speed up with this longer barrel. 657 is pretty good kinetic energy out of 357 SIG. All right, let's see how it does with accuracy. We are at 10 yards, 5 rounds. See how we do with the Joe Jones Special, the Glock 35 with the Alpha Wolf conversion barrel for 357 SIG. I pulled that. And pulled that. All right, let's see what we did. That's our group at 10 yards. Not too shabby for 10 yards for trigger bar. Could be better. I really felt like I pulled some of these, but whatever. And the point of doing this test, you're not bench rest, whatever, right? This thing is going to be as accurate as you are. The bullets are flying straight. That's what I like to see. I can get done what I need to get done with this ammo. That's what I like to test for my quote unquote accuracy or precision is, are you getting wild flyers with this ammo? No, we're not. And we're not getting shots going in sideways with the ammo. So that's not keyholing with my gun. So that's good to know. These are all positive things. Okay, what we saw with 357 SIG was a pretty big deviation between the clear ballistic and the organic gelatin. We saw, again, always, this is consistent. We saw a lot more damage in the organic gelatin than we did in the clear ballistic gelatin. And then we saw significantly less penetration. We're talking almost 4 or 5 inches less penetration with 357 SIG. That's more than 9mm, way more than 380 ACP. And that's the kind of information that I'm looking to get and hoping to get. Let me know what you guys think. I hope that this is instructive and intuitive. I think that this round probably is a little bit overpaced. And I thought that was interesting results for us to see that the bullet really did under-penetrate in organic gelatin. I think it's going too fast for this bullet, and we're just getting, the whole thing is starting to fall apart. So we probably need a different bullet to perform and hold together a little bit more bonded for the velocities that we're getting out of this longer barrel. At least that's my theory. I'd love to hear what your theory is in the comments below. Well, that about wraps it up. Hope everyone has a great week, and let's get to shooting.
From pistols to rifles, we'll take on the best. Reviewing each weapon, put them to the test. With revolvers and shotguns, we'll break it all down. The Second Amendment protects from the crime.